Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another edition, another episode of Let's Talk. I'm so excited tonight because this Let's Talk is very special and dear to my heart. It's about the place that I was raised in, the 07666, Teaneck, New Jersey. This has been something that's been asked to do by my other fellow highwaymen. And I thought it would be a great time to be able to express how we feel about this great town of Teaneck, New Jersey. And we're going to try to figure out what that secret sauce is about Teaneck that everybody is always up on. So let's get started. Everybody know who I am, but just for the show purposes, I'm going to introduce myself as well. I am Regina Smith-Blick, class of 1988, baby. 88 is great. 88 is all that and then some. The 88 takeover. Don't get it twisted. That's me. The next person I want to introduce is a real good friend of mine. We actually grew up on the same block, and we are both Geminis, a couple of days apart. And I want to introduce her first. So Karen Wynn, class of 87.
Hey, everyone. Let's get ready to talk.
All right, let's get it popping. The next person is, we're in the same class, 88, and in the last couple of reunions, she's been on our committee, and we have grown fond together. We already knew each other, but we have a better special bond now being on the committee together. Welcome to the show, Jen Schifferman.
Hey, Regina. Let's talk Teaneck.
There you go. Next up is same thing. The next person is someone who's on the committee as well, class of 88. 88 is great. And I would like to introduce him. His name is Russell Hugel.
Hello, everybody. Let's talk. And I'm a Taurus.
You know why you always gotta add something, Russ. Next up is my really good friend. Actually, we just did a podcast together on her podcast, and I am so excited that she has joined me on my podcast today. And she is another 88er, Donna Prasad.
Hello, everyone. Let's talk Teaneck.
Next up is one crazy person, Lord Jesus. I love him. He's my brother. I'm so glad he's able to do the show this evening. And I wouldn't be right if I don't say it right. Carl Jackson, class of 86.
Good.
What's good?
Class of
Carl?
86. The architects of all of them.
Okay, well, I'll let him wake up from his dream. Next up is, last but not least, another class of 88er. He is a football player. He plays football in Teaneck as well. And he is someone that helped me out with the reunion planning. He's a great guy. I'm so happy to have him on my show this evening. We're going to say Timothy, but he goes by Saul. He's a great guy. I'm so happy to have him on my show this evening. Saul?
Let's go. Let's talk about the neck.
All right. Thank y'all so much for y'all joining me this evening. I'm so excited. And once again, Carla Morgan, as everybody knows, my Let's Talk crew, she will be smothered in with Tina, but she's a Jersey girl. She lived in Plainfield, so she got the Jersey in her.
Yes,
so
yes.
She got the little feel. She don't got the Teaneck though, but she got the feel. So she's here to help us out this evening. I'm so excited about her being here this evening, helping us out. Thank you so much, Carla. I really appreciate you. And we'll go ahead and we're going to get started. So hold on, let's talk. We are back. All right, everybody. This is the show that we've been waiting on, so let's make this good. Let's tell these people about Teaneck, New Jersey, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first question I have for everyone on the panel, and I'm going to start with Karen, is what do Teaneck mean to you?
Wow, great question. So, I lived here my whole life now. Obviously, we grew up on the same block, and Teaneck is community. Teaneck is neighborhood. Teaneck is I have your back no matter what. I'm always there for you. Teaneck is respect. Teaneck is family and love. I mean, this is what we do. We're always here for each other, no matter how far apart we go. We're always there for each other, and it's a beautiful place to raise your family, to worship together, to come together. I mean, like I brought my family back here, just so they could experience the same thing that I did as a kid.
Great. Great. Thank you. Jen, you want to take this one?
Sure. I love that, Karen. I love that you brought your family back to Teaneck.
Yes.
Teaneck for me is all of the wonderful things that Karen said, but I also see it as diversity, inclusion, the melting pot of all these wonderful people coming together in such a community. It just makes me happy. Like every time I hear Teaneck, it makes me smile, like beaming.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's
Always.
going up.
It just to piggyback on what they both said, the whole community aspect of it, it's like family. It's like family that you're not related to, and you really do genuinely care about each other. Like no matter what happens, if you see something posted on Facebook and you just react because it's family, it's Teaneck, and we just step up for each other. So that whole community aspect and that one love that we all have, that's Teaneck.
That's Teaneck all day. Russ?
Teaneck to me is kindness. It's people looking out for one another, like somebody said a couple of moments ago, but being there for each other. That's what Teaneck means to me, is kindness. Helping people, even though you may not have the closest of bonds to somebody, but still helping them in times of need.
Yeah. Saul, you want to take the last?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to me, it means, every building has a foundation. So that's our foundation. The things that I learned from and I've gotten from living in a town like that is to be part of a community, like Karen said, and all of us may be in different places, but the minute we all come back together, it's like magic. We all join back together again. So it's a great place. It really is.
I'm glad you said magic, Timothy. So let's ponder on this one. This is going to be the difficult question, but I think we're going to figure it out tonight. What is the secret sauce? What is the secret sauce for Teaneck? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have other towns, other people in the high school did the same thing we did, but something is different about Teaneck. If you can figure out the secret sauce tonight, I think it's a little bit what we already said, but let's kind of put a formula together. So what do you think that is the reason why we are what we are?
Yeah, let Carl answer that first.
All right, Carl.
Okay, so the secret sauce, what I believe it is it's what you touched on already. It's the diversity. We are pretty much forced to live together. You know what I mean? And we are forced to be in each other's presence. That's what the sauce is, because you may have an upbringing that is different from mine, but you have to learn about me like I have to learn about you. Teaneck is dope. It's just a dope spot to be in because every culture lives here. Every culture. So Teaneck is what the world is. Teaneck is what the world aspires to be. People don't know that, but that's really what it is.
It is. And, one of the things we had talked about that I think is a real big part of this is our schooling.
Yeah.
I think that the schooling system made us the way we are, because other school systems, you may see somebody for 2 or 3 years, maybe a couple of years here, a couple of years there, or don't see them again. But we have a lot of us that started, a lot of us transparent from New York, but the ones who were here maybe had pre-K with the same people they graduated high school with. They went through the whole thing together. So I think that the way the school systems are in Teaneck, it kind of, like you said, made you be together.
Right. I think a big part of that also was that back in the 70s when they did busing and they forced us to, integrate the schools. Like on my block alone, every single house had kids in it, you know, and then every single house, we all went to different schools throughout town.
Right.
So you had all these kids go to different elementary schools, but we grew up on the same block. So you had your community from school, and then you had your block community. So you didn't just know the kids on your block. You knew kids from one side of town, from the other side of town. So then you went to their neighborhoods because you knew them from school. Yep. So then you got to learn about kids from other communities because they were your friends at school. So you want to go play with them. So you were introduced to different neighborhoods. And I think that's how you get to learn about other cultures and other people. And I think that's how we are today. You know, that's where we got to where we are.
I want to add to that. It's not even the schools, because you think about the Biddy Gym and you know, sports, Little League, you know, Pop Warner, all of those kids in a mix with each other. I remember we were discussing yesterday, and I had totally forgot about this. All the bands from every school joined in one band. So you got to see everybody from all the schools. And then we all got to middle school. You either went in Thomas Jefferson or Ben Franklin. You saw all those people again. And then we all went to high school together. So all that time, like Colin said, we were forced to be around each other. You know, and, you know, people already knew who the athletes were. People already knew who the smart kids were. People already knew who the talented kids were, you know, during plays. We used to do plays in Voti Park. So it was you know, it was just a community. You were in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you know, different things like that. So
we could give the township of Teaneck some credit in this. In the way they kind of gave us other activities outside of school.
Yep.
We could give credit on the school system, how they had it set up. And like you said, Karen, the good point was, I was on the border. Literally, I had a choice. I could went to TJ or I forgot the other people. Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin are two of the junior high schools, and they were called junior high schools when we went to school, not no middle mess. Junior high school that we had to choose. Well, we had to choose, but I was able to choose because I was literally on that border of both schools, that little street we lived on. We had a choice. So a lot of us went to an elementary school, then we went to a different junior high school, and then you meet up again back with the same people in elementary school and high school. But you don't lose nobody. You don't drop nobody. You see them again. You may have breaks, but you're always going to see them in high school again.
BF,
I did it.
I went to BF.
BF in the house.
TJ.
Right, and I lived like right across the street from me. The person who lived there, he went to BF. Literally, the house right in front of me, and I went to TJ.
Our was a middle ground, Karen. Our was a split.
Right.
Karen, that person was dope. That went to BF.
Rain Factory.
Dope.
It's so funny. We have robberies inside of robberies. It's like, okay, I went to Longfellow, I went to Lowell, I went to Media, I went to like, then we talk about junior high schools, and then you know, high school we all the same, so we can't really say too much about that. But yeah, I think that's part of the source. I think the structure of Teaneck made us the way we were.
Absolutely.
And I think our parents, we give them credit. I think our parents taught us, you know, to treat everybody the same and equal. And we didn't have issues on that platform. We didn't tease people if you didn't have as much, or you had, you know,
that you have today.
Yeah, we didn't have that. We didn't tease people for stuff like that. You know, we were kids, but we didn't really like go all out like crazy like that. How do y'all
we
think
got to
about
enjoy being kids? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
you got on your bikes, you went to the parks, and you were kids. Yes.
And even though you know, it was said that we were kind of forced to be together, it didn't feel forced. It felt natural.
Yeah, it felt extremely natural. Even though it was forced, but it did not feel forced. It definitely felt like this is what was supposed to happen.
Right.
This is what it's supposed to be.
We had amazing teachers. I remember Mr. Wiseman, you know, in junior high school, and we used to have pets and snakes, and you know, it was amazing. It was amazing.
We were able to have more stuff back then, period, than the kids are today. They're not structured the same way we were. I would say able to be in sixth. I mean, I think I was in I think I was in high school. We had art class. They had give us blades and razors to cut with. They would never do that.
Not now.
We had everything.
We had everything. So I'm gonna start. Well, basically, I think that's the perfect storm. I think we kind of solved a little bit of the mystery. That's part of the perfect storm. But seeing that Timothy said something about teachers, I'll go ahead and talk on that. I think the teachers in our town, the teachers, the coaches, the staff, the school staff, and the principals, like all of them, were so special to us. We loved our teachers, and I will let Kara chime on this a little bit.
Yeah, I want to also add coaches into that too, because like Carl said, and Tim, that we all grew up maybe not playing a sport, but you were involved in some type of recreational activity as a kid. And that helped you set your foundation as to, what you were going to do later on in life. And those coaches were our parents, until we got to junior high school and high school, where the teachers in our school district, lived in Teaneck. So they knew who we were, and they were involved in our lives, and they were vested in our futures. They were really vested in making sure we were successful and, we went forward.
Right. So. And the people that actually some of our staff in the schools were, like you said, our friends' parents worked in our schools.
Right.
We had teachers that are our friends. They had went to school where their parents were actually teaching classes in the school. The structure of the school system was so small, you knew everybody. And our teachers stayed forever. Like our teachers stayed until they retired. They were 30, 40 years in the game. So they taught some of our kids. You know what I'm saying? So you don't see that either. It's not, that's kind of rare. You kind of go through teachers, but our teaching system is a little different. Like we just honored our principal, our last class reunion, and it's just that, we just love our people, and Karen with Mr. March and how he was a great asset, to her life and her child's life and everybody's life. I mean, he went out to their kids' game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the love he had for his people. He loved their kids the same way. Where you go and see somebody like a coach, not just loving you and then caring about you after graduation, but he actually cares about your kids. And that's rare.
Right. They were invested in the kids in the community because they were part of our community. So they wanted us to succeed, because if we succeed, they succeed, our town succeeds, and so that was like a big part. And it still is, being part of the community and teachers living in town and stuff and being invested in, what we do.
They see the bigger picture. They saw the bigger picture. And then I think too, when you live in the town you work in, you care about it more to you living there. So you're producing what's going to be in your neighborhood. So you want to make sure the kids act right. Your property value gonna go down. You don't act right.
And back then there was no, I'm gonna call DIFUS, or if somebody's parents saw you doing something down the street, they were gonna let you know. They call your mother or father and say your child is. It wasn't like, oh, well, I didn't see that. And let me turn my head. They made sure they corrected you, and it was okay with your parents that they corrected you.
And our parents knew each other. Our parents knew each other.
A lot of parents on the block, they took care of us, and they made sure that I knew that if I acted up, they would tell on me. So that was the community aspect. That was the village.
That was the village.
Teaneck.
That's right, Carl.
Yeah.
My parents would let you correct me, and then they would tell.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's
again.
a fact.
Oh yeah.
And we stayed at each other's houses. We spent the night. We lived in each other's houses. Our parents, I had so many parents that fed me every weekend.
It was normal.
It was normal.
Yes.
What do you think about that? I know you had the same experiences.
Who?
Jen?
Oh, sorry. The same experience. Yeah. Oh, yeah. With my good friends. I mean, we were always living at each other's houses. Parents were always feeding us, sleepovers, nonstop. I just remember walking around Teaneck. At night, we would get bored and we would just go walk down Cedar Lane, across town, just check things out. And you felt perfectly safe. That's the crazy thing too. I don't know if you feel safe in other places nowadays, just kind of walking around. But we would go from one end of the town to the other at night, and just
wow.
Yeah, you can't do that no more.
Yeah, but we did do that, and our parents allowed us to go places at early age because Teaneck being a small township. It was a small township. You can walk the whole town in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can walk all the way across and all the way back, and We had that freedom, and then they knew where you're going. You know, say it was we're only going to go 2 miles. It's not even that long. You know, so I
Right.
think that we had that luxury of having a township. It's different to me than the city. It's a township.
Yeah.
So I think that benefit us as growing up too, because we could do everything by a bike ride or a walk. We were there. So I think that's
True.
great. So let's talk about diversity and inclusion, because that's something that Jen had tapped on a little bit on her intro. Teaneck to me have opened up my horizons. I could just talk about my horizons. I came from Mount Vernon, New York, and like I told y'all before, y'all thought I was playing. I never met a white person in person in my life. I
Wow.
saw them on TV,
That's crazy.
never met them in person until I came to Teaneck, and I was just like what's gonna happen? So it was new for me, you know, coming from mostly a Black community. And then when I came to team, it was just so different for me. And everybody was just like normal. It wasn't nothing. I didn't have no issues. I never had no racial problems. I never had any kind of tense moments or nothing. Nothing. I can't pull one thing that ever happened to me in Teaneck that made me feel uncomfortable, racialized. And Russ, can you tell about your example when you came into Teaneck?
Yeah, so I have just the opposite experience as you, Regina. I moved to Teaneck in 6th grade, and I have never interacted with many people of color, African Americans. And then I moved to Teaneck, and you know, the story I always tell is the story of Michelle Glanville was the first person who spoke to me as the new kid in class in 6th grade, who was just moved here after my parents were divorced. And it was like, wow, it like really, like, you know, I was just very taken aback, but in a good way, in terms of her kindness, in terms of her reaching out to this skinny little boy, new kid in class who had just moved. So yeah, that's my experience. But yeah, I'm the same way. I don't think I've ever felt uncomfortable in Teaneck in the kind of diverse classes that we all had, you know. And from Thomas Jefferson Junior High, that's where I went, to Teaneck High.
Yeah. Anybody want to chime on diversity and inclusion?
I mean, I've had issues in Teaneck, racial issues. I might be that guy that I've had issues with the police, and
So as a kid growing up, Carl, or
yeah,
as an adult?
a little bit of both. Mostly as a young person in Teaneck, and you know, it kind of shaped my mental. And my dad was really like he was a militant, but he was also I don't even know how to say, he was a gentleman militant. He would tell me, like, you treat people with fairness and you should get fairness, even though that's not what you can expect. But I've had issues. But to say that, also, I would like to say that growing up in Teaneck is like it was the best thing for me. It was the best thing for me because of the diversity in Teaneck, and because I couldn't say that just because this person treated me that way, that everybody was going to treat me that way. Because, you know, some of my best friends were people of different ethnicities. You know what I mean? It's just the way Teaneck was set up. It's just the way it was built. So
yeah,
I mean, Teaneck was dope. Let's not get it twisted. It was dope, but it wasn't perfect. It was striving to be perfect, but it was not.
Yeah.
So I may be the one person that might have had issues, but then that goes to speak to who I am. I don't know.
No, that's your truth, Carl. I mean,
You
like I
know.
said, I didn't have no issues, but I mean, like I said, it's the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect, but I mean,
Nothing's
as
perfect,
a whole,
right.
is what we're
As a
talking
whole,
about.
it was dope.
But that's your
I'm telling you.
experience.
And that's why I'm raising my son in Teaneck, because I had such a great experience that he needs to experience that. He needs to experience what I experienced. So That's why I'm still here.
Yeah,
Anybody
that's a
wanna comment,
testament.
Paul?
That's a testament also, Carl, because you want your generation to grow up in the same way you felt was a positive experience. But I wanted to say, if sometimes you go back to old neighborhoods and they change,
Absolutely.
and the demographic changes, the people change. But
Absolutely.
From generally, when I go see my parents, it's pretty much the neighbors are the same neighbors. They're all friendly. They know.
We from the same block, so it's different.
Well,
I'm going to invite you by this weekend. You will see that it's different now.
But you also have to think about, like for me, I was born in Inglewood, New Jersey, but
yes,
my parents lived in Teaneck.
Yes,
and I've known that since birth. So
yeah,
I don't know if it was we were sheltered, maybe, I don't know, but I never experienced anything which could be considered negative racially. I remember the young man that got shot, like Philip Purnell. I was and I was like, I was seeing a different thing there. I'm like, well, where was this stuff when I was growing up? But I definitely, when I was going to school and I found myself in different other communities, I experienced that.
Right.
He's pulling you over for, no other reason. But and then it was like, well, wow. I mean, when I grew up, I didn't have that issue. I really didn't. And
I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't perfect, but it was trying. Teaneck tried. Yeah. Teaneck was more progressive than every other town in this county. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, well, we were the first to integrate schools, right? We were the first to integrate schools.
That was the beauty.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to do that.
We were ahead of our time, sure. Like absolutely. I said, I didn't feel different until I went to college. Like I didn't know that I was Black when I went to college, and they let me know. I was like, oh, because I went to a predominantly white school, and they used to call me Dot, and I'm like Dot, and like I didn't realize I was the only Black person on my basketball team, Wow. So I was just like, okay, this is, and that was probably my first reality. Like, okay, this is different than where I grew up, and we have to address our thinking here. So
that's deep.
You're not the first person, though, Karen. I heard even Yvonne said when she was on her last show with PWI and HBCU, she said that was one of her first experiences when she left Teaneck about racism.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody, like with the college and stuff, or grew up a little bit, that's when they experienced it. A lot of people didn't experience it. So I don't know if it was like you said, Tim, like not a naive thing, but a bubble. Because Teaneck, to me, like when I say Teaneck, when I try to explain to people what Teaneck is, I be like, oh, the Cosby kids. That's the only way I can explain Teaneck. Because you know how Denise and Theo and Vanessa had friends with all different races.
Yeah.
The families knew each other, the parents knew each other, they were hanging in each other's house. It's the same scenario in Teaneck. That's how we looked when we were hanging together. Was the Cosby kids. That was the only way I could explain to other people what Teaneck was about, because I couldn't really put it into words. And that's one of the things I wanted to do tonight in the show, because I was like, maybe if I get a panel of us together, we'll figure this out. Because I just wanted to put it in words and let the world know Teaneck was something, it was like the Matrix show. It was like totally different. Even the cities next to us, they have a little bit of it, but it's not like Teaneck.
It's not.
Well, nothing.
Teaneck is dope. No, Teaneck is dope. Teaneck is unique. Teaneck is not like the towns next to us. It's just really different. And I don't know. I don't want to say that those other towns envy us, but
well, we got the rival. I mean, they still rival with Hackensack. We still have the rival going on.
I mean,
is it the same?
The rivalry is more than Hackensack. The rivalry is Inglewood. The rivalry is Bergenfield. The rivalry is Pagoda. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's grown. It's definitely grown.
Ridgewood.
Because they are not us.
Well, they can get
you understand? And what we have, yeah, that's true. And what Teaneck has produced, the town of Teaneck has produced is so great that people are looking at us like, man, come on, y'all. They from Teaneck too? Come on.
Everybody.
So you know.
No, you lying, right, Carl? You lying.
Yeah.
Teaneck too. We have produced. I can't even list all the people that came out of Teaneck. There are celebrities, politicians, actors, athletes.
That's right.
Coaches. It's
That's
so
right.
we can't even list all of them. We got rappers, we have singers, we have producers. And I know other people have it too, but we have a big amount. It's not a little like, sometimes I got 5, 4, 3. No, we have hundreds of different types of people out of Teaneck. Teaneck produced greatness.
But that goes to what you said, Regina. What is the secret sauce? You never expose your secret to the source. You can't expose the secret.
But we can't repeat it either, Carl. It's not going to be able to be because the times have changed.
I know a lot of people who have moved back to town because they weren't happy where they were raising their families because they were like, yeah, it's not the same and I need my kid to experience the real world. So this is the real world. Being here in Teaneck is the real world,
That's right. I'm one of them.
Yep. So I think that has a lot to do with it also.
Absolutely.
The other really interesting thing is like when you're out and just out and about, say you're, I don't know, in Newark Airport or you're in the city and you meet somebody from Teaneck, it's like an automatic like, oh my God, you're from Teaneck. What year did you graduate? I graduated this year. It's like an automatic connection. It was funny, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, one of my jobs, I'm walking into the cafeteria and who's in there but Mark Choi. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he was there for like a panel discussion about the business that he was running. And so the woman he was there to meet came down and she's like, how do you two know each other? Like, what's going on? You're like so friendly. I'm like, Teaneck, we like grew up together. I've known him since, he's a little boy. The whole thing is just, it's so weird, but it's just that commonality that just brings you together. I think that's a big part of the secret sauce too.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm gonna bring us some stuff.
Genuinely happy to see people. I was just genuinely happy to see people.
Exactly.
Not like that fake, oh hey, he's from Teaneck. No, it's like, hey,
he's from Teaneck.
Like we have a thing here in town that most towns don't have. We have that big rivalry. Every Thanksgiving, we have our rivalry football game, and no matter where you are, you're gonna stop, come home for Thanksgiving, so you can see old friends and get together and just, hang out and be together again. And that's the thing that we still have tradition, we still have today, which is great.
Yes, and you go to those games, you never pay attention to the game. You're too busy talking to everybody.
The big meetup.
Yes. And there's something else about Teaneck that is special. That is, like we said, everybody in Teaneck is 1 degree of separation. 1 degree. If you try to find anybody in Teaneck, they are still with the same crew. They're still with the same crew. They have not left their crew.
That's right.
You just need to find
knows about that.
You just need to find somebody in their crew, and they'll find who you need to find. That's rare. That's rare. You don't see that everywhere. Like everybody can contest to that. We all are in the same crew.
Yes.
We have not left our crews in 30-something years. A lot of us are like my crew. I am godmother to my best friend's God, and they the same. We are godparents to our children. We do each other weddings. We go on vacation still together every year. We do everything together. Like I see it on Facebook. Everybody here, I see everybody still with the same people they were with in high school. Have not skipped a beat. So it's like you still friends with somebody in high school? I thought I left high school. I was going. What?
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, that's my girl. We don't do that. Like we are friends today. Like literally, like today I talk to somebody from Teaneck almost every day. It's not one day go by I don't talk to somebody from Teaneck.
And your crew is extensive, so your crew also reaches out. It's like tentacles, So you hang with the same people for 30 years and they hang with other people for 30 years. It's it's a whole network of us. And people don't get that. People don't get it.
And it's generational too, because I know your brother, my sisters.
Absolutely.
Everybody in our neighborhood know each other,
That's right.
Each other. So it was like
our neighborhood is different now.
Yeah, the preloads, the coffins,
That's
the
right.
preloads, because they got single kids.
Right.
But
so you never need to get in touch with someone. You know somebody who knows somebody to get in touch with that person.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
You're always going to be able to find somebody.
We are all
everybody knows Karen Wynn. Everybody knows Karen Wynn.
Everybody knows me, Carl.
Yes, everybody knows Karen Wynn.
I mean,
That's
we
what
take
it is.
seriously. Now, one thing about Teaneck too that is a little different, not different. We are really in love with our classes. Like we are rivals. Like we love each other, but we
87 all the way.
86 runs y'all.
We would.
Yes.
86 runs y'all.
Represent 87 on the chat. 87, where are you on the chat? Let me hear you.
All right, 88. You know we always
86
blow
runs
it up.
y'all. The rest of y'all are copycats.
88, just show out.
88 all day. 88.
No, look, daughter, we ain't have to scream.
It's probably more 88 here, but 86 runs all of y'all. Y'all stop it. 86 was the architects of all of this. Y'all stop it.
Now, let's talk about the classes real quick.
Yes.
My thing about the classes is I think it went from 84 to about 90 is our little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that's the one that we kind of remember most people from, maybe from 84, because some of us just got to high school, to about 90-ish. Maybe a little bit more for us because, you know, y'all were going by the time. So maybe I'll give 92. I maybe give 92. I think I'm pushing it.
92 is
I think I'm pushing it.
like, woo, no.
Okay, so 90 is good?
Yeah. No offense.
84 to 90.
You
stop
say
at
90
89.
because you were a freshman, right? You were a senior and 90 were freshmen at the point. So that's probably why you can relate.
Yeah, because, well, in 88, so, well, we graduated, they were sophomores, right? Yeah, they were They were sophomores when we graduated.
Right.
So yeah, I know 90s. Y'all wouldn't know them as much, of course, y'all know older.
Right.
But that's that little bubble of us that act like we do. Now I don't know if like the other ones do the same. Now y'all have brothers and sisters that are younger. Do they have the same kind of like vibe as we have in this? Russ said no. Tim said no.
No.
Chris, you have a brother that's younger.
Yeah, I have a younger brother, and I think once he left Teaneck, he was like, he has his like 2 or 3 little friends, and that's it. And he's like totally disconnected.
Yeah.
Like,
But he knows everybody.
Well, he does. Well,
He
he
knows
knows everyone,
everybody.
or he knows everyone because of me now.
That's true.
They're like,
That's true.
I'm in.
That's true.
But that's part of the sauce.
That's true.
That's part of the sauce. You know somebody who knows somebody.
Right.
My brother knows Jen. My brother was like, "You talking to Jen Shipman?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, you know her? He's like, "Yes." He's like, "I know her." So
I'm glad you said that, Carl. Okay, Carl.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw something at y'all.
yes,
Do you realize if you're from Teaneck, you have to say their first and last name?
yeah,
Don't
all
you
day
realize
long.
we do that? We
I
always
just
say
said
people's
Jen
first and last
Shipman's
name.
name.
Yeah.
I said her whole government.
See,
They might have warrants right now.
people never realize it. Think about it. When you talk to somebody, you be like, "Did you see Carl Jackson?" You never say. You like you say, Carl Jackson.
Carl?
Yes,
No.
Carl Jackson.
Carl
Why
Jackson.
would you do that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why would
I
we
mean,
say
I
our
don't
whole
know.
name?
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Is it because
I'm
we
sorry.
just so used to class hearing it all the time that we just continue to call everybody their first and last name?
Yeah. Well, it's because you didn't just push a button with the face on it back then. You had to know phone
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
You had to know people's names. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So that was
That's true.
embedded in you. Like today, you just look at like I don't even know my daughter's phone number, like her cell phone number. I just
Right.
put the name. You know. So I think that is why.
Yeah, because I always noticed that. I was like, we always say people's first and last name when we say their name. I'm like, why?
That's so true, though.
You didn't realize that?
Yep.
And a lot of that even started in
Yes.
elementary school because I remember names from elementary school.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do too.
First and last name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why? I don't know. I just
I look at that class
remember them.
picture. I know who every single person is, and I go first name, last name. Like,
Yeah,
it's
me
just-
too.
How do you
I know
know
everybody's
that
first and last
person?
name.
How do you remember that person? I
I
don't
know
know.
that was so long ago. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm like, it's so easy. Like, it's just like yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know that we always refer to ourselves when we talk to other people? We always say the class number.
Yes.
Yes.
Class of 88.
That's 88.
We always say that. You like so and so. She's an 88. Oh yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah. We always say somebody. We always say their class number.
Yeah, people do that to me a lot. They do that to me a lot.
Yes.
No, but
It's
Carl
because they're
comes
trying
you
to say
and
that I'm
introduce
old,
yourself to you
and I'm
as class.
Whatever.
Carl goes to you like, hey, I'm Carl Jackson 86.
Yeah, you know. Whatever.
That's right. I'm proud of my age.
Me too.
I am
Me too.
proud of where I am and my age. So
When you
Absolutely.
live anywhere from Forest Avenue back towards the high school, going down the other side. When you tell people where you're going, you always say, I'm going to the other side of Teaneck.
Right. That's a fact. That's a
You
fact.
always say that. Where you going, the other side of Teaneck? And everybody knew where you were going.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the other side of Teaneck? The other side of Teaneck.
There are a lot of other sides of Teaneck. Like Teaneck was on another side.
But see, the other side of Teaneck is going towards Bergenfield.
Right.
Over there with Dawn and them, that's the other side of Teaneck. We call that the other side of Teaneck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a
And
hike.
if you forget that, you'll say something like, by the armory. That's how.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Teaneck
always say that.
Anything
remember
to the
that well.
right of Elizabeth Avenue, anything to the left of Elizabeth Avenue.
Right. So now let's talk about that.
Yep. Here we go.
Here we go.
All righty, Russ, you ready?
We know where you're going.
Russ, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you ready? Woo. Let's talk about the black door.
Oh,
Oh my God, yo.
Before we
Shed some light on that,
get to the
Carl.
black door, you want to go through some comments first, Colin, because we got a lot.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the comments and then we'll ponder on the black door.
All right.
Okay.
You got a lot.
okay.
And we got Yolanda, Richie, Yoli. Hey, Teaneck.
Yoli.
See, that's our neighborhood. Oh yeah, my neighborhood.
Shay
Yeah.
says, hashtag 07666 everywhere.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I see it.
Yeah. Coach Sherry, she shared it with Twitter. So thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you, Sherry.
87. Yay, Cher.
88. Hey, Janine.
I know, right? 88, hey, Denise. 88.
Lori, what's up? What's up?
Lori?
What's up? What's up, Lori? TJ, all day.
DJ.
Team Brady.
VF.
Reese's PCS 06. For some of us, we met up in Central 6 before going to junior high.
Oh, that's before our time then. Central
Yeah,
Six.
that's great. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Emerson from second grade to sixth grade, and then we went to junior high school.
Emerson.
Wow.
With
Emerson.
all the
Hey,
power.
Father.
All right, it's your
That's my
87er.
school, Emerson.
Hey, family.
Russ, you went to Emerson?
Sana.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went to Emerson.
That's 87.
And those, by the way,
Shay.
those are some of my favorite pictures at the reunions.
Okay, she shared an article.
Yes.
People get
Okay.
Yes.
Old school, baby.
All right, 88, we came back.
Yes.
I just want to point out.
What's up, Larry?
I just want to point out the hate because you obviously did not advertise to my class of '86.
No, obviously you didn't post it on your page to your peeps.
Thank
and they're
you,
right there with
Karen.
you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Karen.
I
Just
may
Just
or may
because you
not
get
be
banned from Facebook, don't blame us.
Don't blame us.
Okay, don't blame us because you get banned. Okay.
Sherry's from 87. Sherry
That's the
Barnes.
hate.
All right, what's the next post?
Coach Sherry, that's
Sherry
the main
Barnes,
ingredient.
Wait, y'all. We gotta hit the post.
That's the main ingredient in Teaneck's secret sauce. They lived where they worked.
Yes. Talk about
Yes.
the teachers.
Yeah,
All right.
They
That's
don't do
true.
that now. They don't do that now.
And just to add note, Sherry's parents owned a flower shop on Cedar
That's
Lane.
right. Oh, Cedar
So they're
Lane.
right.
one of the first black businesses we had in Teaneck.
That's
She
right.
was telling me earlier that when her parents were trying to buy the shop, that it was owned by a white. The people on Cedar Lane told them, because you're black owned, I think you should have a white partner first, and so they had to have a white partner in order to open up their business before they were able to take over 100% in the 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's some history.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. March would call Sherry. She's the diva.
Yep.
Oh yeah, she's a diva. Still is. She still is.
Okay, go ahead, Colin.
Yoli says, Regina always wanted to spend the night at my crowded house. And she was always welcome. I can see
Because when
that.
you're an only child, you need to hear some noise. Yeah.
It's fire in their house.
Yes. Carolyn
All right,
Robinson.
Carolyn.
Representing. That's right. That's our side of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone looks great. Oh, yes.
All right.
Ronnie.
Again, my block again. What? That's what I'm talking about. Our neighborhood representing hard.
That's right. Our block representing.
What? Because I do the block party around here still. Yes.
Ian.
Oh, Ian.
I know Ian.
There you go, Carl.
He says,
For those who never met,
but those who never met other ethnic groups until Teaneck, can we imagine how media, movies, music shapes everyone's mindset about race for those who never get to interact with different races?
Wow.
True.
good point. Good point.
Yes.
Good point, Ian.
Yes. Definitely.
Man, that's our
Another day block. Oh yeah, block representing hard.
It's weird to hear that. It's weird to hear that people don't interact with other races. It's weird to me. Because that's what I grew up on. That was my upbringing. So when I hear that, it's super weird, yo.
Right.
Well, did you guys remember that report that came out in about 2002? There was a school down in Georgia who had a segregated prom.
Yes.
And it was 2002.
Yeah.
Really?
And the kids decided they were not going to have that anymore. They
Oh my
changed.
God.
Look.
Yes.
That's awful.
That's
Because
silly.
it was tradition.
Right.
That's bad.
Shay Stewart, BMO Mural.
Shay Lewis.
Okay. Ian, again, most white people never had a black teacher until college.
Wow. That's
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yep.
Hello, Christine.
Christine says hello.
Hey.
Okay. Coach Sherry, the rivalry is most of North Jersey, to be truthful.
Okay.
Okay. Ian says, shout out Lizette Parker.
Yes. Yes. Well, let me hold out, right? Let me, because people don't know who Lizette is. Lizette Phyllis Parker, she actually was on Selvage Avenue, was up with me and Karen. She's 89er. She had rised up and get into the political field and ended up being the mayor of our town of Teaneck, New Jersey. She was the mayor
Another
of
street's named
Teaneck,
after
New
her,
Jersey. And the street has been named after her now. Sad to say she did pass away several years ago.
Yeah.
But we still love her. She did some great things at Teaneck. She was a great mayor from what I was hearing and seeing and posting and stuff. So yes, represent to our Selvage Avenue girl.
Yeah.
Our neighborhood rocks, man.
All right, coffee.
Hey,
What's
GA
up,
in the
B?
house.
All right, Barry.
Be all the way in Atlanta.
Coffins. Oh, she's like, what's up, Barry?
88, baby.
Hey, hello. I know, Ian.
Some
And then
reunions going on.
Coach Sherry, the
Cruise
have evolved.
Yes. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, you have.
We have.
Very.
Thank you.
That's my dude, baby. He like
Do you
football in
realize
the
that we
house.
know? Do you realize that we know just about everybody who has chimed in on here?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes, yes.
yeah, whether they're in our class or not.
Oh, you passed that one. You can pass that one.
The advertising,
Where's her sister? Where's her sister?
Right, Jamal, that's
the
right.
advertising for 86 hate is evident.
As long as you knew Karen, you stayed in contact.
Yep.
I believe that me and Karen, I'm the 88 one and she's the 87 one.
Class of 86, I'm gonna
Short
need y'all to chime
story.
in.
Paul, you're not on this one, honey. Short story. Short
And
story.
that's the hate right there.
Karen and me are both Geminis. We both live on the same block. And we were timed in to do these class reunions. And we have been like helping each other out, giving each other ideas. We were talking to each other about the setup, and it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot to do a class reunion. It's like you got to talk to somebody who knows what's going, like who knows what you're going through. So it's just like the love is there. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the love right there, that we could work together and be in different classes and help each other and give each other ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't do that. So it's just shout out to Karen there.
This is how connected our class was. We were all supposed to go on a cruise that we all turned 50, but then COVID hit and I got
Right.
kiboshed.
Right.
So I mean, we did it basically on Facebook. I created the group, and then we just did it on celebrated everybody turning 50 on Facebook.
That was a great
That's dope.
idea. That was
88
That's
is
dope.
great.
88 is great. Yep. You got a little
It's like
competition
the
here.
next
Now,
reunion.
saying
Oh, he's
87.
on 87. Okay,
Over
okay.
200
Yeah, Sherry.
members for that group. 200.
We're going back and forth here.
Okay.
I told you.
Go ahead, Regina. Go do some more questions then.
And then,
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm gonna get through this. I gotta get because
and then 89, another one. Everybody's competing, so.
That's what's up.
Stop playing.
Okay. I was
86,
saying,
some of these
Teaneck,
gotta
88
chime
is
in,
great.
Carla.
86, y'all hurting me right now, yo. Somebody say something.
Maybe if you didn't
can't be the
banned
only
off
one.
Facebook, maybe
I'm banned from Facebook.
you in
Oh,
trouble.
there's so many comments.
you can go ahead. You can go ahead through those. They talking to each other, Colin.
Okay. We all know we won because of you, Karen. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, thanks, Sherry. Sherry's the best.
Lori.
miss you too. We'll see you soon,
88.
2023.
Deion Sanders.
Hey, Dion.
What's
What's
up?
up, Block?
Another neighborhood. Yes. It's hard tonight.
Yo,
Yes.
Lemon, what up, kid? That's my man, Lemon.
All right, so she asked, okay, there you go, Regina. Does the black door still exist? Go.
Yeah, you should say it does still exist.
She's
We're gonna
saying
get
it
there in a second. Go
The
ahead and
black
go through
door
because I
still
want to get through
exists,
some of these.
unfortunately.
But it doesn't have
Go
the
ahead,
same
Colin.
meaning. Does
Okay.
it?
Donna. Hey, Soror, she says.
Hey,
All right, all
I
right,
held
all right.
back.
We're not
I
doing
held
that.
back.
We're not
Wait
doing
a
that.
minute. You want to give? Oh, we gonna go like that? Carolyn Robinson is now a Zeta Phi Beta sorority incorporated.
Oh, okay, let's stay focused.
Started.
How you doing, Carol?
All right.
Focus, ladies.
Go ahead.
Stay focused. Stay focused.
I'm sorry.
Focus,
Okay, go ahead.
ladies.
But can I
Stay
say one
focused.
thing though? I want to go back to Karen, to you, and Regina. Just the fact that you two still want to keep your classes connected says a lot about the two of you.
Thank
You know,
you.
and that therein lies Teaneck. That's what, you know, that love that you have for the city. We all have it for each other, but I'm grateful that you guys still keep your classes connected. I know when we get emails, and Tim, even you, when you post people's birthdays, you know, on Facebook, you know, for the class of 88, you know, that is appreciated because you don't have to do that.
Right.
You know, you guys and, you know, ladies, you're all grown with lives and families of your own, but the fact that you take the time to still do that and to help keep us connected, I appreciate that, and I think we all do.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do.
thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why. It just brings me joy when I see everyone together.
Me
We're having a
too.
good time, and
Me too.
when I can have a good time, and you know, it's just a great
It's
feeling.
a Gemini thing. It's a Gemini thing.
Yes.
I just want to talk about, just give a shout out to Mr. March, you know, rest in peace. But
Yeah, salute.
I remember I got hurt
Salute.
as a freshman in football. I hurt my knee, and he was like, "Well, can't play any sports for the winter, so why don't you just be a manager?" And he took me under the wing, and just to be in his presence and under his tutelage, even after I left Teaneck, he would still check up on me, make sure I was doing all right. I mean, just an upstanding guy and a great mentor that I had. You know, it was just guys like that. Coach Art Gardner, you know, those guys just, they poured into our lives. It wasn't even about sports. It was about life, about being a man and,
Right.
you know, taking care of your family and doing the right thing. They were just amazing role models.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are.
That's all.
So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the black door.
Mhm.
So let me just set up the picture here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a door that's literally is black. But
Maybe the door was the color black.
It should have been. That was some of the most disrespectful
wasn't.
stuff ever, yo.
I'm
I'm the one
I don't
person who thought
understand.
it was disrespectful.
Crazy.
I thought it was
So-
disrespectful.
so what it was, well, what we kind of figured out, and I kind of knew this, but most most, not all, of the African American black people lived on one side of town. Okay,
The north
North
side.
side. North.
right, the north
The
side.
north side.
So that
Yes.
door leads you home. That's the door you go to go home. So they eventually consider it the black door. They named it the black door. We came into it as the black door been there before we even got to high school, way before we got to high school. So that's what the black door is. So we had a conversation about this the other day about the black door, and I said that we have Caucasians on here, our friends, and I wanted to ask their opinion about the black door. Or did you know about the black door? What did you hear about the black door? You know, because I never heard that perspective. I never even asked before. So I was Jen or Rush. I want to start it off. Like, what do you think about the black door? What is that to you?
I mean, I knew about it coming into high school just because my brother and sister both graduated Teaneck High, so I had heard them talking about it. But I didn't really know what it was. Like, I wasn't really kind of putting two and two together. Maybe I was just naive in that respect. But I never had any issues personally. Like, it never impacted me. I was in and out all over the school. Like, I wasn't paying attention to what door I was coming in and out of every day.
Okay. Russ, what about you? Here?
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen up.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
He's frozen. He'll come back. But when we discussed it, Russ was saying that he actually went through the black door. He made it through.
But what does that mean? Like I don't understand. Like you made it through. Like you.
No, he was just kidding. He was just
you
kidding.
weren't allowed to walk through that door.
The black door, but no, he was just kidding about it. But it was just because that's where we lived. We went out the door.
Originally when we first went to high school, there used to be a ledge there. People would sit outside and congregate, and we went to the black door. Eventually, because of that name, they took that down because they didn't want people hanging out in that vicinity anymore. So they knocked that wall down so that you couldn't stand and hang out there anymore. So now,
do you know that was the only door with the ledge like that to hang out?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
So we were talking about this the other day, and we were saying that after when we was there, I started noticing other doors that were coming too. You had a Jamaican door. You had what was the other door? Latin door. You had what's the other door you said, Jen?
The stoner door.
The
metalheads door. And then we were saying that the sports door, because everybody who plays sports came out of one door.
Yeah, I mean, that was the only way. I mean, you had to go over the bridge to get home, so you're gonna come out that door. You're gonna walk around the building. You just
right.
Yeah. I mean,
but what the other doors came from? Like the other doors came from because they said, well, if they have a black door, we should be able to have a door for ours too.
I think like we said, like we had a ledge, we hung out on that ledge. People, different groups. Some people were smokers, so they would go out on the ledge, at the door, and there was that ledge there. They would go out there and smoke cigarettes, So that's where they just hung out. If you were an athlete, maybe you hung out by the gym doors, maybe because you were always in the gym. I just think it just depends on what you were involved with at that time to make it more convenient.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, but I know that it was a thing, and we had it, and it was called, and everybody came in knowing what it was, and it was just like I said. By the time we left out of there, it was a door for almost everybody. Everybody had a door, and I do remember they were saying that the white door was the main door. The main door of the school.
That's right.
So Gregory Cooper just posted, he's a dean at the high school. He just said, currently as a dean at THS, we try not to call the black door. It's now known as door 2.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
That's just door 2 now.
So that history of the black door went back in how far? The 60s?
I think so.
Tell Gregory Cooper that my son, who is 12, who is not at the high school, knows about the black door. So
door 2
is not going to rise.
Who went to school that went through a black door? That's why.
My daughter will be looking through the black door come September.
The black door.
Door 2's not gonna make it, huh?
Yeah, it's not gonna make it.
But it's called door, so let him know it's door 2.
I'm gonna try to tell him, and he's gonna look at me crazy.
But it's kind of it's history. But I understand, things change, and
Yeah, Sherry said her brothers were in the high school in the 70s, and it was called the black door back then, also. Yeah. So.
Oh, see, it was a black door back then.
Yeah.
But the funny part about the black door in Teaneck, it never started nothing. It these days it would be oh my gosh, it would be If that was got in the news and talk about the
It was
black
just yeah. Oh gosh,
it would be
yes.
crazy right now. But look
I mean,
at it. Nothing. It
unfortunately,
wasn't racial. It wasn't like we hated nobody else. It wasn't no tension. It was just what it was. And we just said, oh, it was a black door. We just went through it. Went home. Because like
that
Karen
was
said, we had to go home.
but the black door was about America's conflict. That door was built and named because of redlining.
Oh, yeah.
Black people were forced to live on the north
On that
side.
side, yes, they were.
So that's
actually,
what it was about.
We actually got
Like,
some comments on that call that's coming up.
I mean,
people said
yeah.
to them.
I mean, that's the only reason it's called that, you know, because if we lived on Cedar Lane, if we lived down on River Road by Fairleigh, then there would be no black door. But because most black people who were moving into Teaneck were forced to live on the north side, or well, not forced, but they were shown houses on that side and encouraged to live there. That's what it was. So, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate that it is. I think I'm the only black person that resents the black door. Like I hated it. You know, I hated the name, and because my dad would tell me about redlining, and my dad would tell me about America's problem with racism. I hated that door. I hated the name, and I would try not to go out that door. But then I would find myself hanging outside the door, you know, because all my friends.
You're touching on something that's very important. I think about today's generation, and you know, about certain words or certain things that were made to denigrate us.
Yeah,
they've accepted it and embraced it, and kind of made it their own. And it's like it's a conflict. You know, just the N word. Like it's like when I heard Richard Pryor, the way he talked about it, I never said that word ever again. Like, but I mean, but you know, other people in songs, whatever it is, or the way I see my sons talk to their friends, you know, it's fluid, and it's like, wow. But they embrace that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's something you have to, you know, accept. Even if you tell them the origin or you explain to them what it is, you know, they're like, well, that's not how we use it. So, you know, I don't know, it's a catch-22. But like you said, like when we were in school, I didn't give any credence to it was a door, you know.
Yeah.
And,
none of us did. That was the whole point. None of us did.
Right.
If you don't mind reading Javonda comment, because she talked about the redlining thing in hers.
Yeah, she says redlining. When my mom bought her house, they were refusing to show her property on the white side of town. A Jewish woman sold to her because she had small children. Racism existed then.
Yeah, it did. And actually, I had
fact.
that problem. My parents, when we moved to Jersey in 80, they kept showing us houses that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you, as a consumer, have the choice to live where you want to live. And they was pushing us to live in all these, you know, other places. And my father was like, I want to live here. You know, like you, and they just, you know, they nice about it, but you know, they still try to push you on, you know, they want to keep you all on one side and don't, you know, keep everybody on another side. And I didn't realize that as a child. I was only 10 years old. But as I got older and my parents told me about how it was, you know, because they had us looking at houses that he kept saying he wanted to live right near Route 4. He wanted to live, like he had exactly knew where he wanted to live. Because most of our parents, a lot of Teaneckers are from New York. There's a lot of us that's from New York. A lot of our parents lived in New York and they wanted to live a suburban life, but they couldn't live too far from New York because they still worked in New York.
Right.
So they had to get right close to the bridge to be able to get to work. So that's why a lot of us, you'll hear from some Teaneck, you'll ask somebody, a lot of people tend to say, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Queens, I'm from this, I'm from that. A lot of New Yorkers are from New York, they live in Teaneck, we grew up in Teaneck. So
my mother's from Spanish Harlem. She's like, I don't want to raise my kids in the city, but I want to be close enough so I can be there every single day, you know?
Right. So I can see, because I still went to church in Mount Vernon every Sunday. Right. We went to church in Mount Vernon. I still went to there, you know, we had choir rehearsal. I had to go choir rehearsal every Tuesday. So I still was doing a lot in Mount Vernon and still living in Jersey. So that's true. And I noticed as we was in school, as you know, we in high school and stuff, there was a lot more New Yorkers. And a lot of them actually didn't live in Jersey. A lot of them were just going over the bridge to go to school every day. They wasn't living in Teaneck. They were just coming to Teaneck, go to school, and they would just jump, go downstairs and go on the bus and go back over
They
the
catch that bus. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they used to catch that bus home every day.
Got a hold of them.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you. Yep, Colin did that too. Colin lived in Staten Island, right?
I lived in Staten Island, and in my junior year, we moved to Plainfield, New Jersey, and I was commuting back and forth every day to New York City.
Carly, I went to Wagner College.
Okay, my mother went there, but
2 years.
Yeah, I went to Mary Bertram High School, so yeah, Lower Manhattan. So
yeah, so
same thing.
Yeah, so that's another thing about Teaneck too. So there's a lot of transplants in Teaneck. So let's talk about this last topic, and we're going to wrap it up. Let's talk about the rink. Donna, I'm gonna give you the honor because you live smack, like literally in the backyard.
Right there. Yeah, so we were going. Yeah, like my friends and I, we were going to the rink long before it got popular because we lived right there. So it wasn't until like we were going like in junior high school, like middle school, whatever. And then as we got older, that's when the rap artists started coming, and then like people pretty much stopped skating, and then we would have different artists come over, and just have a lot of different types of traffic. I'll just say that, it's like,
there is a rink page dedicated on Facebook, and there's a lot of history on there about how it started. It's always fun to look at those pictures and stories about the rink.
Now think about it.
I lived by the high school. I used to walk home from the rink.
Yeah. But think about in the morning. Think about the concept of the rink, though. Think about it.
Okay.
We had a great thing. First of all, you didn't have to go to New York or go anywhere to see artists.
Nope.
Right. You literally could walk to see Salt and Pepper and Run DMC and Curtis Blow and all of those great artists that started out. They had to go to the rink. The rink had to be their stop to be anywhere.
That's right.
For them to reach Jersey, they had to go to the rink.
LL had on his lap. I'll never forget that. LL Cool J.
Yes, they couldn't pass the rink. So we had the pleasure, we had the honor to be living in a town that all the artists came through. If you live in Teaneck, you've seen every artist out there firsthand.
Yes,
but you want to know something? Teaneck was a very pivotal place back in the 70s and the 60s. You had Tia's dad, Teaneck Records. That's the Ozzy Brothers. That was Teaneck Records. You had Nia, her dad, Muhammad Ali. He lived near Teaneck for a while before he went over to Philly. So it's like it was
Ben King, Benny King.
You had
Benny King,
Sugar Hill Gang. Iron. They were in Inglewood Teaneck collab. So you had, that was always there. And I think it's cool that the rink was like the fledgling of the birthplace where hip hop became like a genre. And Willie's brother DJ Sean, he had this little group. I remember they got their thing on MTV. We became a little entourage when he would go to New York and the rink. Me and Willie and everybody and Barry, and it was just it was seeing DMX, for the first time, seeing Biggie when he was 17, and you can't. That's history. That's it was a great thing. Like a lot of people said, a lot of artists moved, like Jim Jones, and all of them moved to Teaneck. So it was.
Well, that's later on in the early '90s, mid '90s. All like the artists that actually started to climb the charts. They didn't want to live in New York. They wanted to live in the suburbs. And, we had everybody from Biggie Smalls to Jodeci to Little Kim. So a lot of artists.
Jodeci, Mary J.
A lot of them moved to Teaneck. Like, that was the next step. Like when they came out of New York, they came to Teaneck first because they liked the luxury of being so close.
So, in East Orange, there was a little place called Club 88. So that's where the Queen Latifahs and the Lauryn Hills,
Yeah, that's true.
I almost failed out of college them years. It was really bad.
So I mean, that's the specialty of Teaneck. You know what I'm saying? That's the specialty that we had those things growing up. Like a lot of people didn't have the luxury of having a lot of that stuff that we had right in our backyard.
And
we also had sports figures that lived in Teaneck too, like Elston Howard and Dave Winfield.
Oh, we had oh my God, Carolyn McGrath's dad from Sesame Place.
Bob McGrath.
Bob McGrath.
Doc Rivers lived there a couple of years too.
Yeah. Willie Randolph lived in Teaneck. Yep.
Yeah.
And I used to wait on all those guys at Bischoff's.
We can't forget Bischoff. That's a landmark. If y'all don't, okay, a lot of y'all from Teaneck, I know y'all looking at him going, I know him from somewhere. I know him from Bischoff. When you went to Bischoff to get ice cream, he had a little hat on, a little ice cream hat, a little hat, and he was served ice cream. That's him, y'all. Y'all not, you know, that's him. That's the guy.
That's why
famous people never had to worry about anybody bothering them. Like they could just be themselves.
Because people were used to that. People were used to that.
But see, we were raised around greatness. So we wasn't starstruck or we never was like that. Like because we were used to it. Because that Teaneck was one of them towns that everybody wanted to live at. Everybody.
We had don't forget DOS Effects too. What?
I mean, we got Dre. And I would say Carla. See Carla, because you know me, Dre, and Yoli went to Virginia State together.
Yes.
So Carla was there, so she met her. But we had the honor, privilege again, knowing Dre for all them years. Went to college with him, and he met William, his other partner in the group, in the college together. We all met at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he met him when we all was on campus together, and they became best friends on campus at Virginia State University, and that's where DOS Effect started from. Yeah. So I knew Dre and I knew William from Virginia State. So I was honored to know both of them. Yeah. So that's a lot of history. It's a lot of history.
Oh yeah.
And you know, before we close up, I just wanted to say too, before I can't forget this, I wanted to give a shout out and I wanted to give love to Kamala Thomas McFadden. She just passed away last week, a week and a half ago. She's an 87er. So I wanted to definitely give love to her son and husband in 87 class. I'm so sorry for y'all loss, as well as Teaneck, our loss.
Yeah.
She was a great person, bubbly, fun, happy. She was just a real nice person, and I hate that I had to hear that last week that she had moved on. So, but I just wanted to say that before we finish out the show. But on that note, I would like to say too, Teaneck. The reason why I would say Teaneck is really special to me, I'm gonna give you a little story, and then we'll close up. I moved to Atlanta in '95. I had an apartment. I thought I did. The person who gave me the apartment got fired. So when I moved to Atlanta, and let me tell you, Barry Cawthon was at my going away. Karen, you was there, my going away cookout. Mm-hmm. And Barry wasn't even thinking about moving to Atlanta. And he just thought about it at the cookout and said to my father, is it okay if I ride down with her to go to Atlanta? My father was so happy that somebody would go with me because I was going to ride by myself. So me and Barry moved to Atlanta together at the same day. And, you know, I dropped him off where he was going and I went to the apartment. The person was like, I don't know who you're talking about because there's nobody here. She got fired and we don't have no deposit money from you. We don't have nothing from you. So I was homeless. I'm crying. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm 1,000 miles away from home. I have nowhere to live. Made some phone calls. Tanya Roberts called her brother Fernando. Nando and Denise Polite. I would never. I'm so, you don't understand how much I love them. They called me and they said, get your stuff and come over to our house. I said, no, we got you, Regina. I stayed with Nando and Denise Polite for over a month. They would not take money from me. They would not take money from my father. My father tried to give, Nando said, this is Teaneck, this is what we do. Wow. He gave me my own room. We had kids now. Gave me my own room to stay in the whole time, would feed me, would have dinner ready, the whole nine, okay? This is what Teaneck is about. You know, a lot of people, high school people, they're like, oh, they ain't my problem. I'm not staying. You're not staying with me and my family first. So I will give a personal shout out to Fernando Roberts and Denise Polite because they looked out for me back in '95, and they didn't have to do that. Okay, so that's a story about Teaneck. Lastly, when we lose people in the Teaneck, we come out. Okay, we come out. We will be there for the not just a funeral, but if you need assistance or you need anything, we are there for you. That's what we do in Teaneck.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't. If you need anything, if something goes down, you let us know. I guarantee you will be okay by the end of the night.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've driven across country and I've never had to pay for a hotel room. You know, somebody in every state, I could call somebody and come on over, spend the night. Yes.
Yep.
I just want you guys to send some prayers out to Willie Cheatham and his family. You know, his dad's in the hospital. He had a stroke, and he's recovering well. Just, you know, send prayers out to him. And I want to give a shout out to my man Darren Fillmore in D.C., Temple Teaneck Connection. What's up, D?
Darren, is he on tonight?
Yeah, he was.
He said he saw it. He didn't make a comment.
Okay. So, I mean, I just wanted to let people know who's not from Teaneck. These stories are true stories. We're not blowing them up, making them sound great. This is how Teaneck is. Teaneck is just that type of town that will look out for you. I will never be homeless. I will never be out in the middle. We all look out for each other to this day. So that's a beautiful thing. Okay. Before we head out, Carla, hit the last comments, and then I'm gonna turn around, let everybody say their goodbyes.
Okay, there's a lot.
Just go through the ones that have stories. You know what I'm saying? I know
Stories,
people
right?
Not those.
Yeah, because it's just
Teaneck showed out, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
That's 88.
I know someone was saying something about the house parties, which I thought was great. That we had the best house parties in high school.
The house parties were unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep. Yoli says you all look wonderful, and by the way, we should rename door number 2 the Carl Jackson door.
Who said that?
Don't tell him that. We're up there politician for it. Nobody want to be.
She said legendary. She was talking about the rink. Yeah. Carl shows. Teaneck. Okay, Teaneck had all the house parties.
Yeah.
Do that now.
Well, first of all, you and your sister threw the best ones.
In the basement.
Y'all threw the best ones.
Fillmore says, don't forget Kwame.
Oh yeah, he should.
Kwame. Yeah.
We had diversity, and we knew it. That diversity gave me a leg up on leadership when I joined the military.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Let's see. Teaneck in the house again.
Hey, Greg.
Greg. You know Greg?
Hey, Nanette.
Very nice.
Sharon, great story, Regina.
Oh, thank you, Sharon.
Annette Glover. Hey, Saul.
What's up, Nanette? Pretty mama.
Damon Cooper, looking good. Teaneck, represent. Love 07666.
Damon.
Call her, she don't know that zip code on her sleep tonight.
I know.
Nanette, you know you lived in Carl's Corner. Nanette lived in Carl's Corner.
It's not there anymore, right?
No, it's now Maggie's, black owned by our very own.
Yeah,
that's 88.
That's 88. Cha-cha.
There you go. Yep.
They were.
Yeah, they were.
We didn't just have Spotify or Apple Play. We had DJs at our house party.
That's right. Full fledged, do what they do with DJs.
Yes, sweating, basement sweating, and woof.
With the big
You gotta put
bass.
your towel while you're dancing.
bass
When you're doing the rooftop and the Smurfs up there with your little rag.
Okay, we can talk about our meetups, our proms. We had the best show offs. Oh my God.
For prom. That's right.
Our
Darren
show offs were
said,
epic.
what did Darren say? Oh, Popeyes before the prom. Yeah, the show offs. Yeah, that's
show
what
offs
they
were
call
epic
it.
in Teaneck.
That's what they call it. It's called the show off.
Yeah,
the
show off.
Prom. The Carvels was right there at the time. And OJ,
Carvels.
OJ, because OJ was like,
Yes.
see, you had the ice cream on that side of town. We had OJ and Carvel.
Yeah.
And
We were at BS parking lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, but they moved it to that, but the show off was there.
It started at Carvel. Yeah, it started at Carvel, and it got bigger and bigger.
But 87 was the year they moved it to BF.
Yeah, we moved to BF.
Yeah, y'all were the class. They was the first class.
They did it at Teaneck High School, and then there was a big enough, and then they went to BF. And now they do it at Fairleigh. So now they use Fairleigh's parking. Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson's parking lot because it's just so big. Yes.
Fairleigh's the hidden treasure, boy. That's
I hope not, Sherry. They better not change that zip code. That's legacy. They better not.
It's that 666 at the end.
Yes.
See, Ozzy party. House party. Yes. Yikes.
Yeah. Javonna Javelle does.
Oh, just so everybody knows too, June 24th, they're renaming his block, Van Arsdale, to the Isley Brothers place. So it's going to be posted on Facebook Live. Also, they're going to be a renaming for the Isley Brothers that day.
Nice. See what I'm saying? This is what it's about.
Make sure y'all go see the Black Lives Matter mural there.
Oh, yes. Yep, in the stadium. Yep.
Yeah, I took a picture of my dad there right before he died.
Yeah.
No, they're doing another one at the high school in the stadium. So they painted the stadium stairs, and they're putting Black Lives Matter on the stadium at the high school. In the stadium.
So,
it's nice. So they painted it last week, so they're working on the names now.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what Teaneck is about. So the pre-prom shows, yes, that is part of the secret sauce too. Oh, wait a minute, we forgot one, yo. We forgot one.
What?
Senior service.
Oh, well, we got
yes. Okay, we gotta do it real quick. Senior service is a luxury that we had. That if you had good grades and you had so much, your GPA, whatever, you're allowed to do senior service. Senior service started in April, and you did not have to go back to school. No more classwork.
Yes.
We high school in April, and you go work in the field. And we all went around and said where we worked. So I worked as a teacher assistant in Longfellow where I went, and that's what I did. Yep. So everybody want to go around real quick and say what you did for senior service?
I worked in TJ. I worked in the gym, of course.
Of course you did, Jen. Jen?
I worked on the Dukakis campaign.
Oh, yeah, real stuff.
Yeah.
Real stuff, yeah.
Wow.
Russ?
I work for Miss Congorno, Spanish teacher. Great.
Miss Congorno. Elise Congorno. Yes.
Donna?
Yep.
Teaneck High School guidance office. I wasn't messing with my ride every day. Every day. My mom taught there. Oh yes, Teaneck High School guidance office.
Like, no, I'm staying here.
Yep.
Timmy?
I worked at Benjamin Franklin PE department, and we went on overnight camp with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Oof.
Nice.
See, that's what I'm saying. Senior service, look at that. You believe, the day I left for senior, oh my God, it was one of the best days ever.
Oh yeah.
Last day,
before 10, we didn't have study hall. Like back then, we used to have an option. An option is you were allowed to leave campus and go wherever you wanted to and come back. You didn't have to go to study hall, and they can't do that anymore.
We had to come back if you was in the band, we had to come back for band.
But you left in April. I cleaned that locker out. Slam! Out of here, buddy. See you tomorrow.
They had no air conditioning in the school back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. But that was a great experience. That was a great experience. And then you went to prom, you had to worry about nothing. They let you go early and get ready and all that stuff. So it was a great experience. Yes. So I had to talk about senior service because I don't think a lot of people have senior service like we had it. So that's something different. So I see a lot of people say they have all that senior service. All says you work in daycare. We'll see.
Yes, Jerry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Yes.
The equipment real great.
Yes.
Oh, the food. Oh, you guys can talk about the food truck, Miss Garvin's food truck.
Oh yeah.
The hot dogs, the chili dogs.
Chili dogs. Yes.
Them sausage and egg bagels, man.
Yeah. Yes, we could leave for lunch, Sherry. I went home and watched the stories and came back.
Sherry, Regina's moving to Charlotte.
Oh yes.
We got to shout out Miss Davis in the cafeteria. All right.
Oh yeah,
Davis.
Yep.
Y'all remember the hamburgers? Cheeseburger was in the gold foil. Hamburger was in the silver foil.
That's right. That's right.
Pizza on Fridays, ladies and gentlemen. Pizza on Fridays. So thank y'all so much. Oh my God, I had so much fun. This was so much fun. Down memory lane.
It was.
I really
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
That was awesome.
Thank you for having us, Regina. It was really good.
Yes.
I hope
Yeah,
you
thank you for
enjoyed.
having us.
I had fun.
I'm gonna have a hard time waiting for 2023, really.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do something between that.
So, seeing that me and Karen now upgraded your class reunions to weekends. We upgraded y'all to weekends. It used to be a 4-hour stint. We took y'all and upgraded y'all to a weekend event. So,
Regina told me the other day I have to plan for my 35th. Yes. I was like, what? How is that possible? Oh my God.
I was like, Karen, what are you doing? So what are you talking about? I was like, it's time. Y'all is next year.
I feel like we just had our 30th. What are you talking about?
It's time to plan. Time to plan. Is that like, why are you laughing, Russ? I'll be calling you next year.
Ready to go?
Y'all ready? Next year we gotta start planning.
Oh my
God. It takes almost a
right?
year to plan a class reunion, call it. It's a lot. Because we keep topping it every year. Karen and us, every year we elevating it. Every year. It's like we add more, adding more.
Affair.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the class of 88, just be ready. I am going to take this to a whole nother level.
Stealing my idea.
Don't
be stealing my idea, Regina. I should have told you nothing the other day.
Oh, no, I'm not going to tell you stuff. You know how we do. I ain't going to, that's your thing. I ain't going to never say nothing what you say you're going to do. But 88, be ready. It's going to be on and popping. Let you know now. It's always in June. It's always the second or third week in June. No, not second or third. Third or fourth week in June. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you need to start, I know it's early. I don't want to hear. Nope. Because we had somebody come flying in from Italy last minute in California, literally like a day before the reunion, because they didn't want to miss it. So you're not going to be disappointed. I promise you will be disappointed.
I want to try to get some of those people there that haven't been to the past couple of reunions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I love about it?
Everyone always is reluctant, and then they're like, dang, I should have went. So I think 35 years later, I think they're ready.
You know what I loved about it? One year I couldn't go to the actual event that they had at night, but I did go to the event we had at Friday. So it was almost like I was able to see a lot of people and experience that, but I couldn't get off of work to go to the other event. But it was still an experience.
But see, this is the time that you go ahead and you take off. See, ladies and gentlemen, you got to take off from work. You got to take off from work because you don't want to miss it. And that's what happened. Like Karen said, a lot of times that happens. They start seeing, especially social media, they start seeing pictures on Friday, and they would see all these people there, and like, oh my God. And they're like, oh, and then they try to come last minute or they just mad. This time you got fair warning. It's happening and we're going to do it and it's going to be lovely. 87 class, we got Karen. Y'all gonna have a good time. So y'all need to plan next year to go to yours because Karen's gonna be on the chain. I will try to time it for Cough 86, but he's not here. So I don't know what y'all doing this year, because y'all is this year.
It is?
Yeah.
This
year. 86 is this year.
Like we just had our reunion.
86. Hope you have a great reunion. All right. So you want to go ahead and say your last words and we'll close up. Saul?
It was great seeing everyone and having this chat. I really enjoyed it. Always putting together with my peeps. So,
yes,
thank you, Gina, for putting this together.
No problem. So,
yeah, I mean, anytime we can sit around and chop it up about Teaneck, it's great memories. Nothing but positive stuff. That's always going to be the place where I started. So they always get the shout out. So thanks.
Oh, no problem. Russ?
Thanks for inviting me tonight, Regina, and it's great seeing everybody. Can't wait to see everybody again.
All right, Jen?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me. You don't even need to ask me, okay? So, you just assume that I'm going to be wherever you need me to be.
Right.
Also,
I'm going to be there. I'll be calling you next year. Don't worry about it. And last but not least, Donna.
Yeah, Regina, this was amazing tonight. And so I just thank you for this opportunity to come in here and talk about Teaneck, and also to let people know that there's going to be a kind of part 2. You did a chat with me. I have a podcast called Cousin Chat Podcast. And so on the 18th, in honor of the class of 1988.
88.
There's an episode coming out just for us. It's 1988. This one's for you.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and we talk about a couple more things about Teaneck.
You never get enough of Teaneck. Never.
Because we're coming up on our 33rd. So it was in honor of the class of 1988.
I know. Don't it sound crazy? I feel like we still just came out of high school like a couple years ago. It don't feel like we 30-something years in this game.
Yeah, we don't skip a beat.
It's really crazy. So, all right. Well, thank you once again, everyone, for chiming in. I love to see all my Teaneck people. Oh, my goodness. It was great to hear everybody and see everybody. So I would like to say good night, and Let's Talk is now over. Y'all have a good night. God bless, and I love you all.
Good night, everybody.